afternoon, Dr. Johnson. How are you today, my brother?
Hi, Vernon. Good afternoon to you and to your listening audience and to the strong team that you have there at Omega FM. I'm fine, thank you. Thank you so very much for asking.
I have to be careful, I can't talk about the cool hills of Mandeville again because let me tell you, in Kingston here, man, they're getting some temperatures of all 90 odd. It is just
Yeah,
unbelievable. So I guess it's probably getting pretty warm in Mandeville also.
yes, it has been warm for a little while now.
Hmm.
And the theme that is on persons' lips now is that we are definitely going through well, I would say a severe period of a drought. We have not gotten
Yes.
substantial rain for quite a few months now. So I'm sure that the farm producers are not looking their best at this moment, but
Right,
we pray
right.
for show of rain shortly, a good period
Carefully,
of
might get yourself
rain.
into political trouble. You know what
Well,
troublemaker, Doc.
we need the rain. We need the physical rain, the literal rain right now.
What's your name, mind, Doc?
Yes, thank you very much, Vernon. We had discussed in previous
Yeah,
broadcast on the topic of sleep, and we had
sleep.
discussed a little bit how it is that why it is that we sleep, the cycles that were involved
Mm.
in sleep, and we understood that we need a certain amount of time for sleep to be effective, so we can actually affect the normal body functions that actually take place in sleep. And lacking the sufficient amount of sleep, we see the adverse effects of it. We had touched a little bit about how it promotes memory consolidation, how it is that we need a good quality of sleep before studying and after studying. One
Yes.
is to open up the mind and to receive the information, and sleeping after the studying actually helps to organize your thoughts and keep it long lasting.
Mhm.
And we actually saw how it is that persons who had a smaller amount of sleep actually um, very had smaller percentage wise clearance rate in recalling information once they had studied, right?
Let me say
And how
this
easily
publicly.
it slips the mind.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Let me say this publicly, Dr. Johnson. My listeners, seriously, they are falling in love with me, the whole of them. And they
Hmm.
monitor me like a hawk.
Right.
I got calls yesterday, yes, and I get messages. They say, Vernon, we
Hmm.
don't think you're getting enough sleep. I must tell you, listeners, yes, I do
Hmm.
work at some ungodly hours, but the doctor
Hmm.
can tell you if it's okay. Sometimes I sleep late. If that will make
Mm.
up for. So I think I ought to say that because there's a general concern from my listeners. They have expressed concern.
Press. Hmm.
And I
Well,
have to give thanks because a doctor who expressed concern about me just said to me that I should just come in and see him. And when I went in
mm,
and I saw him, I realized there were quite a few challenges. I tend not to ignore when people make comments
hmm.
like that.
Right, right. The problem that we have been facing is that
Yeah.
sleep is seen as something as a pastime, and not any amount of care is given to the topic, how important it is.
Yes.
And sometimes persons are ridiculed about sleeping, saying that sleeping is for lazy persons and so forth.
Yeah,
You
I know
know.
that. You sleep too much, man. So lazy.
Right.
Yeah, I used to that
Exactly.
one. Yeah.
Right. And and what's happening too is that we are a sleep deprived country. I should say so because even when I was going to school, Vernon, I used to have
Yes.
schoolmates who would tell me of their stints attending these late dancehall shows that they attended
Mm.
while in school, and this
No,
is
doc, you're wrong. You said
during the week.
late. When you say late,
Hmm.
what do you mean?
Oh, you mean that is true? Early morning,
Yeah, I
early
tell you,
morning.
yes, no, I guess work too long together. No, I think you're picking up
Exactly.
early. It is,
Exactly.
listen, Doc, let me tell you something.
Hmm.
I remember when I was a youngster, like a baby is born. Listen, you had to tiptoe in the house, you couldn't make any noise. Can you
Right.
imagine a baby has just been born? And all 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, all these boo, 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 boo.
Hmm.
You can't sleep.
Exactly. Exactly, and that is why I'm
Yes.
saying that we have become somewhat of a sleep deprived nation.
That's why I'm
Owing to
miserable. You duck me. I
that is
don't
why
duck
it's so
say, you know.
miserable.
Me think say,
Hmm.
that's why we so miserable on the road and miserable in life. We're terribly, you know, duck.
Yes, without a doubt, Vernon. And this is how sleep, any interference of sleep actually affects us entirely. Now,
Yes.
sleep deprivation is anything less than the number of hours that we are supposed to have during the course of the day. Normally it's 80%.
Hmm.
So if it is that you're getting less than 7 hours of sleep, we are actually considered as being sleep deprived.
Deprived, right.
Right. So, we definitely do need that amount of sleep. Now, as I said, we had mentioned briefly, or well, not really briefly, but we did go into a little bit of detail how it is that, or why it is important that we need sleep. As we say, it's necessary for memory consolidation and
Hmm.
retrieval of vital info of certain forms of information that we put in certain parts of the brain.
Right.
Now, what we have to understand too is that sleep actually is necessary for the clearance of toxins of our brains as well. Right?
Oh, okay. Hmm.
Right. The body tends to clear toxins by a network system called the lymphatic system. And it works in tandem where
And the
it
lymphatic
seeks
system is that
system.
way at country used to call it wax and canal.
Yes, exactly. Right. It moves through those nodes and
Yes, yes.
becomes tender and swollen, and we call it wax and kernels, right?
Hmm.
Now, the brain also does a significant amount of detoxification, but the detoxification actually takes place while we are asleep, and it
Oh,
actually
okay.
takes place during the non-REM sleep phase,
Hmm.
right? Sorry, the REM phase, which is the last stage. This is where the toxins that are normally built up during the course of the day tends to be
Hmm.
removed. And we had mentioned in previous broadcasts about how there's a formation of a certain kind of protein that is involved in the progression of Alzheimer's. We call it beta amyloid proteins, and these actually interfere with the networking of the brain, or the cells or the axons of the brain, or the electrical impulses. It does interfere with
Right.
it. So what happens now is that during the night we actually. Mhm.
Oh,
Right. So we normally have a situation where at nights the lymphatic system runs through there, but it doesn't have a network of lymphatic system. Is that the lymph flows through the brain and washes along the network of the blood vessels and remove all of those debris. So if
mm-hmm.
it is that we're not getting adequate amount of sleep, Vernon, eventually we're going to have an accumulation of these built up unnecessary waste products in our brains, and over time it will manifest in forms of dementia. Right.
Okay.
So that is one thing. Another thing too, Vernon, is that adequate amount of sleep is directly involved in our immune system, right? We have what we call certain kinds of fighter cells. We call them natural killer cells
Hmm.
that identifies, and one of their roles is to identify any invading pathogens or any formation of any unnecessary unwanted growths, and these are the ones actually go around searching for them and destroying them in their early stages.
Yes, yes.
Without these now, you're going to have an escape of these unwanted growths to a point where they manifest in our illnesses. There are studies that shows that sleep deprivation reduces the natural killer cells abundance or numbers and maturity up by 60%. So we can understand how it is that we actually form sicknesses because of not getting adequate amount of sleep. There was an experiment that was done a few years ago in Vernon, where they inoculated persons with the strain of a flu virus, and what they wanted to know is what they did was to put one set who got sleep and one who never got enough sleep. Both of them were inoculated, and after 2 weeks, the cells that we normally produce as a result of an invading
Right.
molecule was measured.
Just wrap up that point. We're gonna go for the break
hmm
now. Yeah.
So what was discovered is that after 2 weeks, that is when we normally see the progression, and it was observed that persons who were sleep deprived had a 40% less number of these fighter
Right.
cells
Mhm.
in their system. So we
All
can see how
right.
it is that we get
Okay.
sick.
I'm gonna
hmm
go for the break right now, and I do hope one of these days I can do like some people, just sit down and fall asleep in the middle of the day. Are you listening to Spot On with Vernon Derby? Our very special guest is the cool doctor from the cool hills of Mandeville, Dr. Llewellyn Johnson. So come back. Don't move. Welcome back. Yes, you're listening to Spot On with Vernon Derby, coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica, that beautiful country in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, where we say what? We little but we tallow. And our very special guest is Dr. Llewellyn Johnson, and he should be talking to us, back with us shortly, so we just continue to wait on him. And it's part of his work as a doctor to educate you, because I'm one of those who believe that if we can educate the population, then that would help to minimize the challenges that we have. And today's talking about sleep. So this time, let's welcome back Dr.
hmm
Llewellyn Johnson.
Yes, sir. Right.
I'm going
So
to be like some
mhm.
people, like I do the program and catch a little sleep during the break.
Oh, let me say
Yes.
something to that, Vernon. The sleep,
Yeah.
what we're trying to promote is sleep when you're supposed to sleep. I mean, if you feel tired during the course of the day, that is fine. But what we had mentioned is that the sleep should be tied into our circadian rhythm, meaning that
Oh,
we actually follow the orchestra band's director in terms of when it is night or when it's day. So it's
okay.
during the night when the hormones start shifting, starts or certain hormones starts gearing down and certain hormones starts peaking during the night period. That is when we should transition from a working time, from working to actually resting and going over into sleep. So it's really that period where we need to get that full 8 hours of sleep, and it's
Okay.
during the night, right? So
So,
as
Doc,
I said,
what does that say? Because I have my own, not empirical evidence,
hmm
but about when you work on shift. And I found out, that those of us who work on shift, especially the ladies, that
hmm
their relationships with their spouses don't last for long at all. Um,
let, let me go ahead and even add more texture, more meat to what you're saying.
yes.
It's not just the relationship that is affected, Vernon. It's your overall health, because
Oh,
shift workers, persons who work on ships, hospital or healthcare givers,
yes.
those who are in the security sector as well, because they have to be transitioning between day and night and changing their sleep pattern. It disturbs their bodily functions, and the WHO actually awarded sleep deprivation, right, or as a probable carcinogen. That is how deadly lack of sleep is. They, they,
Yes,
they, they
yes.
have actually framed it as a probable carcinogen because of the negative impact that it
Hmm.
has on different bodily function. Right. So, as I said, the sleep is very vital. Just as how we wake during the days and we perform activities, the sleep is, apart from getting our rest, there's a lot of cleaning up and storing and processing that actually happens during our sleep. And another thing too is that as we go on over and on, we realize that sleep plays an important role in our emotions. The brain, even though it's about 5% of the total body weight, it actually utilizes 30% of the body's energy. So when we are sleep deprived, that amount of energy that should be involved in processing certain parts of the brain actually becomes reduced. And there are two
Yes.
parts of the brain that actually are affected. There are other parts, but we made mention to the prefrontal cortex, which is actually sitting at the front of the brain, where it actually regulates your emotions and allowing you to act in accordance to to societal norms and so forth. And another part that is affected is the amygdala, which actually recognizes the flight and fear
Yes.
response. So if it is that our brains are not properly energized, we are going to be not able to react as how we should when danger arises. And that is what helps to reduce our alertness as well while driving, right?
I was
So,
going to
and that
touch
is a
that, Doc.
mhm.
So
So
I'm going
that
to put a little point here. Sorry to interrupt you, Doc. I spoke
mhm,
about Dr. Jones, um,
mhm,
and your list from the National, I think, Safety Road, whatever. I can't remember the name of it right now. But every
right.
time I hear that man talk, he always says speeding, speeding, speeding. And I
Hmm.
keep on saying to myself, it's like somebody who has a high temperature and all they keep complaining about is the high temperature, not
Hmm.
realizing that there's an infection somewhere. I have a verse. We need to carry out a study to find out these accidents on the road. If it's
Right.
because they're drinking alcohol, probably didn't sleep well enough,
Hmm.
probably not getting enough sleep. Think of people who work all by Portmore, live by Portmore. They jump
Hmm.
early in the morning, the traffic. No, man. I
Yes.
think we need to carry out a study, Doc, to find out
Yes.
it's not just about us speeding on the highways.
Hmm.
It must have, there must be other factors. Because even
Because
if you're speeding and you got a good sleep last night, your judgment and your reaction would be faster based on what you're saying.
exactly right, right. I think we're just tunnel visioned in what we consider the most
Oh,
probable
by the way,
cause.
since I mentioned that word tunnel vision, so to interrupt you again. It's like how COVID did take over the whole of Jamaica. I'm one
Hmm.
of those who believe that tunnel vision is another disease that has taken over the whole country, probably the
Hmm.
world too.
Yes, I believe so too, because
Mm.
you know, not in all cases is there the cause of speeding. Yes, I'm not saying it's not
Right.
of concern, but there are other hidden factors that are quite significant in this as well. And it is established even in the American journals as well. They have actually mentioned that sleep deprivation plays a very impactful role in the number of
Mm.
road crashes and also road fatalities incurred over there as well.
And
So
by the way, it
we,
also
mhm,
affects your awaited doctor listeners. I'm no doctor, so I'm just
mhm,
throwing it out there to hear what he has to say.
mhm,
I know some people will get very awful. I know it's afternoon really, so I'm being very careful.
mhm.
Um, Lack of sleep also affects our ability to perform with our spouses.
Yes, Vernon. There's a
Same thing, you
study
know. Me never know something
there.
right with that. Mhm.
There's a study, that was held about 20 years back, Vernon,
Yes,
where they had measured the level of testosterone of different male groups of males from 40 up, or no, not
yes.
40 up, but measured their testosterone. And
Mm.
what they had done was to plot the those levels with the amount of sleep on average that they had received over their over I'm not sorry over what period. But
Right.
what they have found in Vernon was that persons or males who get 6 hours of sleep and less tend to have the level of testosterone of somebody 10 years their senior. So it simply means that lack of sleep robs you 10 years of your vitality as a man, right?
All those who
So,
have ears to hear, let them hear. And by the way, I'm
mhm.
sure I read it somewhere that there's a problem in Jamaica with our male in terms of their what they call it, virility.
Yes, it's not just a Jamaican phenomenon, it's a
Yes,
global phenomenon. We are not too certain as to the cause or the main cause, but there are a number of factors that
yes,
are being cited. And
mhm,
one is socio-economic, and one is another factor is emotional. staggering as well. And we have sleep deprivation. So there's a number of reasons, but definitely, this study was in particular for those males, and as I said, there was a 10-year decline or
Mm-hmm.
10-year reduction, I should say, of the ability of men to perform as how they should, right? Just because of lack of sleep, right? The other thing too, Vernon, is that um, persons who are sleep deprived, as I was mentioning previously about the emotional centers of the brain, because the the brain centers have reduced the amount of energy to these areas. What we have what we have learned, Vernon, is that these persons tend to be easily triggered. Right. And whenever anybody's angry at work, we would say, boy, that person probably didn't get enough sleep, and we would take it for laughter.
Guess what?
But it is a biological effect that the lack of sleep has, especially on those emotional regulating
Mm-hmm.
centers of the brain. And what is also noteworthy is that persons who are sleep deprived tend to have um, a doubled effect in terms of um, recollection of negative experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So a person who is sleep deprived, as I said before, tends to have twice the amount of negative memory effects than somebody who is
We just have a minute
sleep
left, Doc.
sufficient, right?
Let's make your final point and
Hmm.
tell us how we can make contact with you.
Right, Vernon. So as I said, Vernon, we were living in a sleep deprived period, and we are seeing its negative effects on both males and females, both physically and emotionally as well. And so I would love to use this opportunity to advise our listeners that once you have the once night comes, please go to your beds. All right.
And
Um,
listeners, he was dropping words of Vernon Derby.
Exactly. Go
Mhm.
to your bed and get your full hour sleep. All
Yes,
right.
yes, yes,
At
Doc.
least 8 hours of sleep for adults.
Mhm.
All right, Brennan. So I am actually located on 14 Caledonian Road, right here at Consolidated Health Service. Telephone numbers include 589-0608-791-1090. Email Llewellyn Johnson, Llewyn Johnson at hotmail.com.
Right. And I just realized I can jump on the bus and come and see the doctor in Manhattan and go back to Kingston.
Why not?
Yes,
Why not?
as easy as that. Lovely, right?
All
Dr.
right.
Llewellyn Johnson, have a wonderful afternoon. All the best, my friend. Until next week, we do it over. And I go catch a sleep right after.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care, my
Do
friend.
that.